Hi and welcome back to MIDI Helper. The final conclusion to this bit before we get on to any sort of animation is just to show you there is a small problem that can occur. And that's because if you have a drum kit, you need some way of looking at which hand or foot you're using. So here are the actual notes that are being used, and these are the drums and things like this. And here we've got LH, RH. This is left hand, left foot, right foot, and such and such. There's four other functions in there, which is M1, M2, M3, and M4. So basically what we're looking at here, if you put them in the left hand position, then maybe the cymbal and the ride become the left hand. And you can also do the right hand in the same way. So what it does is groups these up, and it then looks at those and sees if any of the MIDI ons and MIDI offs collide in that position. Now, this particular file looks like it's got a brush, tap, swirl, and that could be a different MIDI box compared to something else. So what I've left it in this particular case, but what we see is that it actually collides. So this brush, tap, swirl at these various times, it has actually collided. If you look at this, it's got 896 in there, but it's moved it by an amount, okay? So what we're doing is move these by 2. Sometimes it could do even more than that, but it's basically, I have the option to move those notes should I wish to. Now, here you've got the transfer drum clashes. So if you click that and then press this, all the times it's actually moved it by will be transferred over into the MIDI timeline here. So you don't necessarily need to do that if it all works okay. So leave that unticked for now. You click on that, that tells you if it's got any problems. And I do know from this file, if I take these 3 files here and change them to say M1, M2 and M3, or indeed put them all in the same, because these are now not in this equation, in reality, what it does do is remove all these clashes with the sidekick, rim shot, and the snare. So providing you end up with actually not or very little in the way of clashing going on, then you're okay to go. If you leave it to the point where you could have that the time clashes that you've found, you need to keep them in, then if you just let that carry on, it will actually move those notes by 1 again, or 1 or 2. And if you press that button, as I say, it will transfer those time differences across to the other channel. So you won't have the collisions that you may have had before. Hopefully, if it's okay, they shouldn't collide at all. So providing you've got the right left hand and the right hand in the right place, then it should be fine to go. But it's just in case. What I found was there were collisions between, as it went through the files, and it's doing all this is happening in parallel now. So you could end up with 2 things happening at the same time, but this just makes sure you're looking at the right way of what you're doing with the files. That information there, you can just sort of save that on a bit of paper somewhere. So when you actually come to do the animation, you know what bit's got to be in what hand to make sure that you haven't got any collisions occurring. So that's really just a test at the last end to make sure that you've got no further problems. And as I say, if you do find some that you can't get rid of, you can always click on that, let it move itself for 1, and it will again move those things on as it does over there. So that's the final bit towards the last bit. There is one bit here. This is just a rechecker to make sure that all the notes ons and notes off are all worked out okay. And you might find 1 or 2 left, which that'll actually move at the last minute. So that's the end of the run-in for the MIDI helper. And hopefully the next video, I'll start to show you how you can use that converted file. Now don't forget, when you want to save this file, what we're going to have to do is we're going to go from there, we're going to mark those files there. Now, you can use mark MIDI files if you so wish, but basically go along the top mark those files, use the copy function there, and you can move that into a word processor. I actually like this text pad, and I've been playing with that for a little while to see how it works, but it seems to work okay. If we do paste in there, you'll see that this has still got lots of gaps in here that we need to get rid of. So if we use replace, and using this particular program, we can use /T. And if you look very carefully, there's one space been put in there. So I've just hit the space bar once and I do replace all. It takes a couple of seconds to work it out, but what it's going to do is it's going to move all of those spaces out of the way for you and bring the file back to where it can be imported into MIDI load successfully. So we just close that and go File and do Save As, and now you can save that that document there, like I've done here, and that then can import into the MIDI load program without any problem whatsoever. Okay, so that's the end of that bit, and good luck on your animations. As I say, the next one I'll try and do is to show you how we can animate the drum using this file. So thank you for listening.